Hello and welcome to our daily news program broadcast daily from Hanoi. Our latest highlights.
Indian Vice President Mohammed Hamid Ansari begins an official visit to Vietnam. He holds talks and meetings with Vietnamese party, state and government leaders. A plan on fighting drug smuggling in the areas bordering Laos has reaped remarkable results after 9 months of implementation. In the first 11 months of 2012, Vietnam enjoyed a trade surplus with Malaysia for the first time in a decade.
On January 15th, Indian Vice President Mohammed Hamid Ansari began an official visit to Vietnam. The same day, he held talks and meetings with Vietnamese party, state and government leaders.
Welcoming the Indian Vice President Nguyễn Thị Doan affirmed that Vietnam cherishes the strategic partnership with India and values the role and contributions of India in promoting peace and cooperation in the region and the world as a whole. The strategic partnership between Vietnam and India flourished in recent years with a number of high-ranking delegation exchanges and President Trương Tân Sang's visit to India in October 2011. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng also traveled to India last December to attend the ASEAN-India Commemorative Summit. The two countries designated 2012 as their friendship year to celebrate the 40th anniversary of diplomatic ties as well as the 5th year of their strategic partnership. Bilateral cooperation has expanded in a wide range of areas from security and defense to science, technology, culture, and education and training. In particular, bilateral trade has increased on average by 20% per annum. It is expected to hit $4 billion in 2012. Vice President Ansari's visit will further foster the strategic partnership between the two countries. Following their meeting, Doan and Ansari witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding on cooperation between Vietnam's Ministry of Planning and Investment and India's Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises.
Greeting Ansari at a meeting the same day, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng stressed that the party and government of Vietnam attaches importance to further strengthening the all-around strategic partnership with India. He suggested that the two sides should build on the achievements gained during the friendship year of 2012 and deepen the relations between parties of both countries as well as people-to-people diplomacy, while boosting the close coordination in regional and international forums. Vice President Ansari affirmed that all political parties in India support the strengthening of bilateral ties with Vietnam. Later, President Trương Tân Sang also hosted a reception for the Indian guest. President Sang hailed the developments in bilateral ties since the two countries established their strategic partnership 5 years ago. He expressed support for the establishment of an Indian cultural center in Vietnam. The Indian Vice President thanked Vietnam for its coordination with and support for India at international forums. He also noted the effective cooperation between the two countries in many fields, especially in trade, with two-way trade turnover to hit $7 billion by 2015. During his meeting with the Indian Vice President, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng said the sound results in the strategic partnership between the two countries over the past years have benefited the development of both countries. The Prime Minister said he hopes the two sides will further strengthen cooperation in economics, trade, investment and tourism. Vice President Ansari affirmed that India always considers Vietnam a key pillar in its Look East policy and is willing to work with Vietnam to bolster cooperation in areas of each other's strengths and demand. He emphasized his country's consistent support for the peaceful settlement of differences in the East Sea, adding that this is the only measure to ensure peace, stability, cooperation and development in the region and the world.
A plan on fighting drug smuggling in areas bordering Laos has reaped remarkable results after 9 months of implementation. At a conference in Hanoi on January 15th, Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc commended anti-drug forces of the two countries on their efforts.
The Deputy Prime Minister said the plan is an effective model in the fight against drugs, which should be applied in other areas. The Bodyguard High Command reported that the Bodyguard Force and the police, in coordination with Lao partners, have dealt with 159 cases of drug smuggling during the past 9 months. They arrested 248 suspects and confiscated 116 kilograms of heroin and nearly 16,000 pills of synthetic drugs. In addition, the forces have detected many petty drug offenses, have been reduced the abuse of drugs in local communities. Special attention was paid to education campaigns to enhance the public awareness. Thus, the plan has received support and assistance from local people. The report highlighted the positive changes in several hotspots, such as Long Luang commune in Mộc Châu district, Sơn La province of Vietnam, Om Muong and Hue Hien communes in Sop Bo district, the La province of Hua Phan. Many drug dealers in the areas have made commitments to end the trade.
The Ministries of Transport and Foreign Affairs coordinated with the U.S. Embassy to hold a seminar on January 14th and 15th to discuss infrastructure development in countries in the Lower Mekong Basin.
More than 150 government officials and businessmen from the 6 member countries of the Lower Mekong Initiative, plus a number of international organizations, discussed infrastructure targets and visions in the Mekong region, as well as the experience and policies of the US and other countries in public-private cooperation. US representatives highlighted the potential benefits of regional cooperation. They said the cooperation can generate cleaner electricity to power regional development, build modern airports, seaports and transport networks to move goods efficiently, and build information networks to move ideas and drive innovation. The Lower Mekong Initiative was established in 2009. Its members are the US, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand and Myanmar. The initiative focuses on 6 sectors including the environment and water, healthcare, education, connection, agriculture and food, and energy security.
The Vietnam Trade Office in Malaysia reported that in the first 11 months of 2012, Vietnam enjoyed a trade surplus with Malaysia for the first time in a decade.
Two-way trade between Vietnam and Malaysia reached $7.3 billion in the reviewed period, representing an increase of 7.5% over the previous year. Of the figure, Vietnam's exports stood at $4.16 billion, and import value was nearly $3.1 billion. Total trade between the two countries for the entire year was estimated at $7.6 billion. Key export items of Vietnam to Malaysia were crude oil, computers, electronic components, rubber, rice, iron and steel, transport vehicles and spare parts. Vietnam Trade Office in Malaysia also forecasts that bilateral trade between the two countries will hit $8 billion, in which Vietnam's export will be about $5 billion.
A week of German films started in Hanoi on January 11th and will last until January 18th. This is an annual event organized by the Hanoi Goethe Institute.
The week began with the film Under Snow, taking viewers into a mountain village in Japan. The documentary combines traditional kabuki plays with poetry and music by Yumiko Tanaka to create a moving portrait of life in the tiny village. The latest film adaptations of Brothers Grimm fairy tales were presented over the weekend. Cinderella and The Gallant Tailor were shown last Saturday, while Rapunzel and The Wishing Table were screened on Sunday.